Hello and welcome to our second official emergency podcast of the Bunker to Bunker podcast. Our first ever episode we filmed on June 7th. It was an emergency podcast as LIV Golf, the PIF Saudi Investment Fund, and the PGA Tour went into their merger, expedited the process of getting the podcast started, and here we are on a great Friday morning filming the 21st episode here, coming off of the pretty, I don't know what the word is, shocking. Um, Basically, every adjective you could throw into this news that Jon Rahm has now joined LIV Golf. Before we ramble on it, Josh, how do you want to start this off?
I don't know how to start off. I mean, I um, there's been rumors forever, probably the last month, I would say. Um, like I didn't think it would happen this soon. I thought maybe like the start of like the year, but it seems like maybe Ron was like maybe pressured or something to get this done as soon as possible. But I just can't. My main thought to start off is I can't fathom signing a contract for like 500, $600 million.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just can't. There's like how many people in like the entire like even like an athlete. I think someone's comparing like he's gonna get paid more than like Shohei Ohtani or something
Yeah,
like that. When like
it's crazy. Yeah,
it's and he's just a golfer and at least Ohtani can pitch and hit. Ron just hits. If you'll
yeah,
keep it simple, but yeah, I'm not really sure. Honestly, there's so many areas you can start with. You can start with just Rahm himself, PIF, the PJ Tour, Live. I don't even know. I mean, I feel like you're the Rahm spokesperson. I'm not. I do like Rahm. I'm not an advocate for Rahm. I'm more of the Spieth, Thomas, Fowler, Homa, Hovland. Those are like my five guys. So
hmm
Rahm's not really in that camp.
yeah,
So I'm kind of interested to hear what you have to say, and I can probably like feed off your emotion and kind of your takes and stuff. So I think that's the best way to go about this. Because I also do have some takes, but I think you should fire them
yeah.
off and get it all out first in a little therapy session.
Yeah, in a little therapy session. Glad to know this is how I'm spending my Friday. But yeah, Rom is one of my favorite players. I've gotten the privilege to meet him multiple times. Have a really good picture with him, and then got to chat with him a little bit at the U.S. Open out in LA Country Club on the driving range. I was working there, and he came by. Got to exchange a couple words with him. Great person, great guy. Um, yeah, it's so difficult to kind of process what's happened because I guess the best way to describe my feelings is this reality because I think why I'm saying that is you look at I don't blame Rom for going. I don't, for the sole reason of if someone offered me $600 million, I would go as well. It shows, as I said in the video that I posted last night, that everyone has a price, right? Everyone has a set price that they will give up their loyalty. And unfortunately, money is the way the world works. So more money, people will flock towards that. But why I say like, is this reality? Is you look at Rom on Fox News last night. That doesn't even look like a tenth of the man he was 2 months ago. And then you look at, when Bryson came on to do that, or whoever else when they signed or when the merger was announced and all these, personalities went on there. They just look like robots. And it's just so weird, I guess is the best way to put it. Where, you have these people signing for life changing money, career changing money. I mean, after 3 years, he can go buy 100 houses in 100 different countries, never have to do anything in his life again. And this guy, the compassion, the fire, the just down to earth mentality that he had is just so gone. He looks like a cold blooded killer. It's just so confusing because it seems like every person that goes to live, with the exception of Brooks, because Brooks has just been that way since day one. But every person who was an outspoken personality or who actually had some sort of personality on the tour, it's just turned into this muted bot that just speaks live golf, and that's it. You can look at Ian Poulter. You can look at, I mean, Phil Mickelson, but that is such a complicated story to get into. But it just makes me question what is really going on. And it's one of those things you're like, oh, is this a dream? The aliens coming, but it makes you realize like this something's weird. I guess that's the best way to start my thoughts is
No,
something just is
you're right.
weird. I don't know if you have any.
I I mean, when you sign $500 million to do anything, the people that are giving you that money will tell you what to say, not to say. So I
Of
think
course, yeah,
like those press conferences, like I don't. It's just weird. And he wore like a jacket
a
that Max
Letterman
Homa tweeted
jacket.
out
Yeah,
and actually got it right. So Max Homa, Brooks is trying to get Max Homa to join like Smash Golf Club, but that's another pod. But I think that you saw at I think LACC when you were at, he says in the video, or maybe it was the year prior at Brookline about how 400, 500 million dollars won't change his life. He already has money that if he stopped playing golf, he'd be fine for, and like his kids and family
mhm,
are fine, which is very true. He also ripped Live on the format and how it's not real golf, which I still think is, I think it's true. Not a fan of
yeah,
like the
very
shotgun
true.
start. Which reports are that I think he still believes that. And I think it's like, I don't know, like what's the influence? And I think that you have Callaway, who is a Phil sponsor still. Callaway's still sponsoring Phil. I read today that they might have a stake in a Live team or in Live as a whole. As a whole. So that's one
Mhm.
area, and then you have Phil, I think too, that obviously that Rahm went to Arizona State. Tim, Phil's brother, is Phil's caddy, was also Rahm's agent when Rahm turned pro. So you have that connection, which all makes sense. But I think the timing of this, and I don't know if you want to go into this now, but like the PIF is just using Rahm as an asset. Their goal is
Of course.
to invest money in the PGA Tour. Their goal was not to make their own golf league, but the tour kind of made them do it. So I think that we sit here on December 8th at 7:47 a.m. Eastern Time. They have a deadline December 31st. No idea if it's actually going to merge, but like I don't know how the PGA Tour doesn't and Patrick can't like get this process moving forward. I think Piff has all of the leverage now with Jon Rahm. So I think that who knows, like maybe Rahm signs this deal knowing that maybe Phil tells him there's a merge, like we're about to get it done. Go get $600 million now. Like it's all gonna be fine. So there's so many different factors. The future, we have no idea. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good idea there because it does bring up the point. Is this like a troll by Liv? Like, oh, we grabbed your superstar. Yeah, we're not going to merge now. But it just seems so weird and how someone can just, when he was on Fox News last night and they asked what changed over the past 2 years, you were so against this. You even said this dollar amount wouldn't get you to do anything, and he got said dollar amount that he said wouldn't change his life. And now all of a sudden he's just like, oh my gosh, I'm growing the game by joining Live. They have better competition, better fans. I mean, I think the best way to say it is that we hope that a merger happens and just be done with it. Take the Live players back and let's just move on with the game of golf because I can't think of a more detrimental thing that's going on right now. Because you have two waging tours who are fighting. One of the tours, the PGA Tour based in the US, the longest standing traditional tour. Then you have the Live Golf Tour with literally unlimited funds with no desire to be profitable. And I understand the PGA Tour is registered as a nonprofit. Technically, they're not. They don't have a desire to be profitable. But it's literally David and Goliath. The PGA Tour will never be able to withstand the amount of financial resources that Live has, and it goes back to the same thing of sport washing, or of Saudi Arabia knows that their oil reserves, their gas reserves, whatever you want to say, are going to deplete, not only because they're going to deplete them, but we're turning towards a renewable planet. We're turning towards more energy efficient, carbon neutral, whatever you want to say, in the next 20, 30 years. So they want to, instead of going in economic distress when their number one export falls off or doesn't get as much business anymore, they want to have stake in sport because sport is like the only global thing that'll stand the test of time. But it just goes back to the whole thought of there's something going behind the scenes that I think is going to shatter the game of golf in a good or a bad way in the next month. I really do, especially with Rahm going along now. You're seeing reports that Tony Finau is going to join Rahm. Rahm has an ownership in his team. He's going to be captain. The name's apparently going to be El Toro, which is bull in Spanish. It just feels like something is happening, and I do believe the reports that the PGA Tour is literally on fire. Like, it's just all hell is breaking loose essentially because I feel like they're scrambling. They can't come to a solution and they're just going to lose it. They're just going to lose it because they just can't put up the money. And as I said, I'll wrap this up in a minute. But as I said, I cannot think of something more detrimental to the golf than right now. I don't think this is I mean, live fans will say, "Oh my gosh, the PGA Tour is in the mud. The corrupt golf media is this. We're going to suck a fat one. Whatever you want to say." But you got to realize that no matter what tour you're a fan of the game. And in having two waging tours who are going to court, who are talking to the DOJ, Department of Justice in the US, who are poaching other players, who are creating these abnormal formats that's not watchable in, the most popular country for golf in the US, you're destroying the entertainment value, the love of the game by doing this. And it's just really concerning at this rate.
Yeah. It's yeah, it's very detrimental. I mean, I think that the fans are the losers of this. I don't think there's really a winner. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
uh,
Hmm.
like I think that many people have said this who I listen to. You're a tennis person, but I think golf is really turning into that the four majors are all that matter, and then you have a Ryder Cup. So that's like the team event, and I'm not. And in tennis, as a common sport fan, I don't think the American versus whatever tennis team match
Hmm.
is as big as it was. So I think
It's
that
terrible. Terrible. Yeah.
so like we're that's what it's turning into, and I think that like live isn't like I think what's the problem is that the tour has the tournaments and the majors, essentially that are better than live. Like the live product is terrible. And that's just like there's no
Hmm.
if, ands, or buts around it. I think if it was a better product, more people would actually go. Um, but so you have Liv who has the money and a couple of players that the tour would probably want back, maybe five or six. That's another debate. And the tour is bankrupt, has no like leadership. Jay Monahan, who I don't know, Patrick Cantlay is running the tour now,
Yeah.
supposedly, which he's one that took off his hat, so it's just it's a huge fire, as you said, and I think a merger will have to happen. I think the tour just has to give in. You know, I think the tour knew they had to forever, but they try to fight it and fight it, and I think they have to finally put their ego aside and just figure out a way to make the next product of golf, the new era of golf, good for the fan. And I think that's their goal because they're very player friendly right now. Obviously, the players run the tour. The players run every league that we have in sports, essentially, at least the ones that I primarily watch in America. So at some point, there has to be a real conversation in that. And I think they're having it right now. Like, I would not be surprised that
Hmm.
Jordan Spieth and Cantlay and who else is on, Charlie Hoffman maybe is still on there, or Webb Simpson I think maybe, and Monahan and Dunn and all those clowns can just, figure out a way to, at this point for them, you have the money with Live, just figure out how to make the best product for the players. The players will get paid. That is the main goal, I think, for the next 3-4 weeks that we have until 2024
Yeah,
rolls around.
yeah, and
Um,
it sucks that we've gotten to this in such a short period because, as I said, we recorded our first episode in June, and less than 6 months later, we're kind of at the point where I feel like at just this point, just accept the live players back, join the merger, and hopefully just the league goes away and we go back to the traditional tour that we had. Now, not saying that there needs to be a monopoly, not saying that it's PGA Tour or bust, but with all this drama, with all this money hungry, greedy, whatever you want to call it, it to be brutally honest makes me lose interest in professional golf. Now, I love the game, don't get me wrong, but when every day it's Patrick Cantlay's calling the shots, or this happened with it. It's just I'm just so sick of every day. It's what is going on between the two tours, not what is happening in the world of golf to grow the game. What is happening with the up and coming collegiate players of PGA Tour University? What is happening in the Corn Ferry Tour, the PGA Canada, the Latino America Tour? It's just so regimented and so focused on what's happening between PGA Tour leadership and Live Golf. That's it, and it just makes me just lose interest in the entire product that both are putting out because it until some solution is reached, it will always be what does this tour have over the other tour? What does Live have over the PGA and vice versa? So I don't know if you agree with me, but just kind of getting to the point where I'm just sick of not being able to sit down and actually watch the game without here's the statement from Tiger Woods, here's the statement from Jay Monahan, all this. It's just growing so old for me.
yeah, I mean, it's getting the common fan. Like, I think they said it on. I was listening to No Laying Up before I went to bed, and I think one of them made a comment that was like, the common golf fan right now is just like, I'll see you in April. Like, I don't
Oh,
care about all this BS that's going on. And yeah, it is annoying, about it. And I try to stay off like the live Twitter that people that like the bots that they have are like, oh, like Liv has won this whole thing, and I was like no, they haven't won. Like, there is no winner. The fans are losing. But I just like I also think back it was like about Liv, and I'm like sitting back when Nick sent us a text uh, last night asked like if I like Live Golf, and like Rom doesn't move the needle for me to like watch it every weekend, or not every weekend, like the week before every major that they have, or basically not. Like Rom doesn't move. There's only like three golfers that move like the needle for me personally. I love to see like the numbers on when Live starts with Rom and if their viewership. I mean, it's gonna go up. It has to, but like I don't like like as a golf fan, like he doesn't move the needle enough for me. There's only 3-4 guys that do. So I think yeah, like they paid for Jon Rahm. Like Liv is just spending all that money, and like still no one's gonna watch. I think someone said that like they sold like 500 tickets, like sold 500 tickets, not like given out for free at the Miami event.
it
So
doesn't
like
surprise me,
what?
and you'll see. Yeah,
Like what's wrong gonna do? Give them 500 more fans at that event, so they have like 1,000. They don't like aren't making money. So it's like I think the PIF has the upper hand. I think, but I can't say like I can't confidently say, oh yeah, by December the 31st, there's going to be a deal that gets done. I have no clue.
I don't think we will have a clue, and I will preface with I don't think I will ever say Live or the PGA Tour has won because it's not about which league I want to win more. Again, it's about the fans, myself, yourself, our listeners out there, what is better for us? And that is the winner. We'll never get that answer. We'll never get that answer. There's no winner. You could always say there's a loser, someone who's doing better, but there'll never be a winner. But it goes back to the whole thing that I started off here, is this augmented reality, this fiction that live golf is this generational thing. It's going to change the world. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. I mean, you look at, as you know, as your name says, you look at all these live bot accounts who behave and act the same way that these players do whenever they go on news channels or post on social media, and it just feels so insane to see again how players can just transform their personalities, their behaviors, their whatnot, just for money. But then it just goes back to the same point. Money makes everything. So I don't know. It's just such a tough thing to try and comprehend and understand. Um, yeah, I don't know if you
Yeah,
have
but
anything else to throw in
you
there.
know that's not true. Like like you watch Rom and like Bryson and Phil say like they're gonna grow like the game with it, and Rom wants like a bigger like audience. Like you know like the
Oh,
golf fan like
it's
us
not
like
true
knows
at
that
all.
that's not true.
No, it's not true at all. But why I'm saying that the fans will constantly lose from this is because you have, every sport always has a plethora of new fans that come in each year. You have fans who watch golf for the first time or basketball or something. And every sport tries to appeal to these new generations of fans because, the older generations are dying off. They need to create something that'll appeal to people our age, people younger. And as you said, you bring a golf fan in here and, they hear, oh, I'm growing the game. I'm growing my audience. I'm playing better competition from someone like Jon Rahm. And they're all of a sudden just going to fall in line and believe that just because he said that. That's the most threatening part is there's more casual golf fans than there are serious golf fans out there. And the casuals could be the ones who go and give Liv the support just because that's what their understanding is. Because Liv has these unlimited funds to market Liv Golf, to sign these superstars to try and, I don't want to say brainwash, but essentially say, hey, this is how golf should be run. We should have shotgun starts. We should have team events where the fireballs and the range goats are battling in the team championship. It's the most exciting thing in the world. No, it's kind of along those lines of they have all these funds to continue to push this agenda and this idea of their product is superior no matter what. And they want to appeal to the non serious golf fans. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean Rom has the influence because he's not from America, but I just don't.
Yeah.
As I said, he doesn't move the needle enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I believe there are. I mean, yeah, there's like three guys. I count myself as probably for the common fan. There's three guys that move the needle, and it's Tiger, Spieth, and Rory. Like those are the only three guys that actually think move like the needle. Like JT does it for me, and like Max Homa does, but they don't for the common fan. I think the common fan, like if like a Rory or I mean, I'll say Tiger. I think if Spieth went, like he moves like the needle. Spieth isn't gonna
Mm-hmm.
go. He's on like the tour board, but I think that yeah, it's pretty frustrating. But I'm also to the point where I'm just tired of this talk that I'm like, let's just go out and play golf. Like I just wanna go bet so and so to win the American Express if I watch it or like whatever the next event is. Like, like honestly, Tiger like staying afloat that he can try and walk for 4 days straight of competitive golf is the only thing that the tour has right now that people are gonna watch. And it just, I mean, the tour was on a wave of these tournaments that aren't a major don't matter. And now it's becoming even
Mm-hmm.
more because if more guys go to live, they can only play in the four majors. And I think, what I do think Rom does is that as an asset that Liv has, is that they're gonna be more accepted by the other tours. I know that Rory said that he expects to see Jon Rahm in 2025 for the Ryder Cup. Bethpage said that like the European Tour has to change their like ways about it, and with this new tour. So like I think that there's going to be some changes that be made because of Rahm, but it would be kind of be funny if Rahm couldn't play in like the Ryder Cup after he says it's like the most important thing to him and turns his back on all of them, and then we whoop him at Bethpage. Would be pretty funny, but yeah, the future is undecided. It's pretty fitting that we started this podcast on June 6th, and we're here now. So, in a time that we thought wouldn't be much going on until the 2024 calendar, we get even more drama than we ever imagined. So, those are all my thoughts on LIV, just on specifically Rahm. There's even more to talk about, honestly, but if you have any final words, we can move on.
Yeah, I guess the last thought about Liv is you want me to take a league seriously where they just traded the individual champion Taylor Gooch for Matthew Wolff, who finished what, like 27th or 28th out of the entire league, just straight up. It's just one of those things like you really want me to take this seriously, like really, like you want me to say, oh, the team aspect is great, and you're trading the, according to them, number one player in the world for the number, I guess, because Liv's invincible, 28th player in the world for just straight up, sure, whatever. It just goes back to the same thought of it's just such an unwatchable product, excuse me, just an unwatchable product and just difficult to comprehend. Um, but again, it's never been designed around profitability. It's purely been designed around the PIF and Saudi saying, "Hey, we own a golf tour, and we have all these big players. Come visit our country." That's basically the whole point of it.
Well,
So,
what I think it's going to
yeah,
turn
those are all my
into,
thoughts on that.
like, if I have like a prediction, maybe I'll throw out a prediction, is that I think that like that Gooch for Matthew Wolff, and then Harold Varner gets traded to the Four Aces, and then Peter Uihlein gets traded to the Gooch team. I like the Range Goats, that the Bubba team maybe. So like what you have Uihlein and Matthew Wolff, who are both Oklahoma State guys. So I think Liv's just going to turn into, all right, let's look at a team with my friends. So if there's any team aspect of golf that the PGA does, like I think it's just going to turn into like, all right, Xander and Cantlay, you can have your team. You're like, best friends, and then you have like Homa, Fowler, Thomas, Spieth as like a team. Then you have like the Jon Rahm, Finau, and whoever they're like friends with, and then so like I think it's just gonna turn it even more of a joke if like they just go that direction of being with your friends. But we had other news that was big news that just no one is talking about now, is that the R&A and the USGA announced the rollback of the golf ball to start, I believe, in 2028. So for those who don't know, they're basically going to weaken the golf ball, is the best way I can put it for the common fan, that driving distance and distance as a whole, these two entities feel that is a problem, and more people are getting it farther and farther, and it's giving an unfair advantage. So they're rolling back the golf ball. Basically, like, you won't be able to hit it as far as you once were. I don't know the percentages of it, or really the science behind it, but this is happening. There's players are voicing their opinion, and the caveat is that it not only does it affect professionals, it affects the common golfer like us. So it's not like a baseball where you grow up using metal bats, and then when you get to the majors, you use a wood bat. It's that now we're all using the same ball still. And, the TaylorMade and Callaways of like the world and like the manufacturers aren't happy for this. So that was big news kind of was going to happen. This was in talks for months, and now it's, I guess, officially official. Um, any thoughts, Ethan, as you're, a way better golfer than me? You might lose some strokes now with your handicap, so
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
couple things. My understanding is the rollback will be about 80% of the normal distance. So for every 10 yards you hit the ball, you're only going to get 8 out of it. So I mean that's significant. If you, like myself, hit the ball 300 yards, you're looking at hitting it 240 potentially. Um, yeah, it makes no sense to me. You kind of look at the evolution of the game where we came from, wooden clubs to, you can look at the hybrids and the drivers from the 90s. You're like, how do people hit with this ball? And then you look at today's technology. And it's just like, why draw back? Why stop all the innovations in the golf club industry and the ball industry? Because, 20, 30 years ago, I don't think anyone would think, oh yeah, I'm going to go get fitted for a golf ball. What the hell are you talking about? But now we're talking about, oh, we need to go change the golf ball because people are, hitting it too far. It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. And I think the only thing that is positive about the whole thing is it's not until 2028. So there is time for this to be reverted. It's not like it's starting next year and we're scrambling and we're like, oh my gosh, this is stupid. But based on the initial reactions, it's to the favor of no one. And it's just these independent entities, the R&A and the USGA, who, the USGA runs their 23 championships, the R&A runs theirs over in Europe, and it's just them scrambling because they don't have the courses to counter this. They don't have, the USGA loves to go to these prime courses that um, have been around for hundreds of years, and they're just concerned because these players are running in there and just bombing it and doing all that. But yeah, I don't see a benefit to it. I just think, it not only hurts the professionals, but it does hurt the amateurs as well. I believe it's 2 years after it's going to be rolled out on the amateur scene. And for anyone who has, essentially the best way to describe it is anytime you go to a golf range and you hit balls off the mats or wherever at the range, more than likely those are rolled back balls. So that's designed because ranges usually aren't 400, 500 yards, where you can hit any club. That's the golf ball you're going to be playing with. And for someone like me or potentially someone like yourself, those balls are terrible and they're very difficult to control. They're very difficult to hit. So to me, it makes no sense. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. I don't think that there's you look at trying to grow the game and entice younger people to come into it, and the thought of, oh, I can go out there and I can bomb the golf ball, I can hit it really far, sounds really great and enticing. Now you're going to say, well, you can kind of
Yeah,
do
but
it.
that,
It
but that, the common golfer is worse than me. I'm not that
oh
very
yeah,
good anymore. So like it doesn't it really for the common golfer it doesn't matter. Like
no, yeah.
the only I think the TaylorMade and Callaways and Titleist are mad because their whole marketing thing is that I can play the same golf ball as a Jordan Spieth, Tiger, Jon Rahm, all of them, and
Which
now
is
that's
how it should be.
gone.
That's how it should be.
But that's not,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's not going to change. It's not like I'm not gonna boycott the golf ball and not play golf. You're not gonna boycott the golf ball and not play golf. But I just thought of something, and there's a serious business opportunity for us just to buy the juice golf balls and then sell them.
Let's do it.
If
That's a
we
great
just
opportunity.
buy it, we
Call the
buy in
bank.
bulk.
Call the bank. Yep.
We get
Yep.
crate or pallets of Pro V1, Pro V1X,
Uh,
TaylorMade, TP5,
truckloads.
TP5X.
Truckloads. Truckloads.
Next thing you know, we're the manufacturers of these juice golf balls that you know maybe could win you a club championship. Something that you haven't done.
Hey,
I
we're
mean, hopefully you can. But also, what happens with that? Is in a club championship, are they going to check what
they're gonna check
a
the
golf
golf
ball? This
ball.
could make country clubs are going to go berserk. People who have cash games and money games that I caddy for, there's a handicap police. There's now a golf
Hmm.
ball police. And maybe we
Oh
just
my
are the
gosh.
golf ball police.
What a world we live in,
Although
man. What a world we live in.
it sounds funny, but the knowing golfers, like it's gonna be a problem, and there's gonna be like
Oh, absolutely.
a video out there in 2028 that someone's about to fight someone because they're using a
Oh yeah.
2024 Pro V1X and they're not using the 2029 Pro V1X, which who knows what they'll actually call it. Um, but yeah, it sucks. I mean, you can't. I don't think driving distance is a problem. I think it just kind of takes away the beauty of golf, honestly. Like you're just
Uh,
hitting as far as you can, but also like I think you can't like really change. You can't just tear down a course and just and redo it, which sucks. But um, so I get that argument. I know that some players are you know agree with it, some don't. I
mm,
forget who and who because Jon Rahm went to LIV, so that's been the bulk of my Twitter and following and stuff.
mhm.
But I saw like a tweet actually. It's from Nuclear Golf, which I'm not. Um, guess they're like guess the main source, but they said that. Well, it's from the PJ Sirius XM PJ Tour that someone on ESPN said that Rom is gonna like other professionals are gonna bring over or John Rahm's gonna bring over other professionals to his team. So I think you said like
Professional's a
female
loose term.
potentially and yeah, exactly. Who knows? I also haven't I had to watch this John Rahm full interview. I've only seen clips of it. But
It's weird,
it
man.
came
It's
across my feed
weird.
to watch the whole thing. Yeah, it's
It literally looks AI generated. Like you're just like, is that really Jon Rahm? It's just stone cold killer. Like someone
so
like shot him, and he has.
people make these jokes on Twitter, and it's like about like I think it was like a picture of Rom on Fox News, and it's like, how do you
Mhm.
explain this to like the golfers past of our like, generation? You know, a Palmer, Sam
Mhm.
Snead, like all those guys. Like, how do you even explain what's going on? Like, and it's like I don't know how to explain it. I can't really explain it to my, grandfather and grandmother. Like, it's just like it's so weird. Um, I
Yeah,
guess it's 2024. Really anything can happen. And it's nuts. Um, so I
yeah.
guess that pretty much wraps it up for the podcast. Um, I think we got most of it out, right? You got most of your energy and
Hmm.
tension out there.
Good
So,
therapy session.
next episode will be a more fun episode. I think we want to go through like the majors, kind of who we, maybe get some predictions on who we think is going to win. We have obviously the Masters is at Augusta, PGA Championship is at Valhalla in Kentucky. Then we have U.S. Open at Pinehurst, number 2, and then Royal
Mhm.
Troon is the Open Championship. So there's a lot of good history that we've had here the last, 10 or 15 years at these tournaments, obviously. So, and then we'll go through some bold predictions on, guess what golf may be in 2024, or kind of what happens, or who plays well. But I've been doing some research on the courses, and I do have
Mhm.
some I think some interesting bold predictions and
Yeah,
stuff. So stay tuned for that. I think that'll be a good way to end 2024 and lead into the new year full of uncertainty.
yeah, yeah. So we thank everyone out there for listening. Another, what's the word? Tempestuous. I think that's the right word there.
It's a big
Uh,
word.
yeah. It's a big. It's a very. I couldn't even spell tempestuous. A tempestuous ending to. I don't want to say golf as we know it, but a difficult ending, a difficult beginning to the next chapter. I guess is the best way to put it. And get ready. The next, what are we at? 23-ish days are going to be fun, and the holidays will take no rest for anyone. I'll just Christmas morning find out that the PGA Tour is not merging with LIV. That'd be hilarious. or at 11:58 p.m. on the 31st, they signed the merger. Something crazy is going to happen. Just stay along for the ride. We'll be here to cover it and talk about it. So yeah, looking forward to, I guess, the fun at this point. Maybe. Don't know. Kind of done with it, but on to bigger and better things, and we will see everyone next time.